learners, we've been discussing about applicable law and the role it plays in order to integrate environmental provisions as that of BIT provisions or IEA provisions, right? So that we've discussed in the last video. In this video, we can take a quick look at those cases that we've discussed in 6th, 7th and 8th week of this course. So, we've anyway discussed only those cases where an environmental measure was challenged, right. So, clearly in those disputes, there's an intersection between environment and an investor's investment protection. So, even in those cases, if you look at the following table, you will get a clarity as to what has been considered as applicable law in those cases. Please take a look at it. If you look at it, these are the only an international law or the investment agreement or a bilateral investment treaty or a treaty with investment provision like NAFTA, and the domestic clause has been considered as applicable law. Please take a minute to look at the table and then check for yourself as to what are the laws that are primarily applied on an investment dispute. Please note that this is only with regard to very few cases that we have decided, and also those cases where an environmental regulatory measure was challenged. And then what is the way out for asking an tribunal to look at environmental provisions, maybe of the BIT or of an other international environmental agreement? What can be done? One example of how the tribunal could ignore an environmental provision could be the metal clad case. I mean, we've already discussed the metal clad case in detail. I just want to highlight this one particular issue. When the question of Article 114 of the NAFTA agreement was interpreted, so which clearly stated that an investment activity should not be carried out in a way that it contributes to environmental degradation. So, the tribunal refused to examine or apply Article 1114 by saying that federal permits were granted. So, that means the investment activity is not against or not contributing to environmental degradation. So, therefore, the tribunal did not apply a NAFTA provision dealing with environment. Forget the fact that there is a side agreement to NAFTA, North American Agreement on Environmental Cooperation, that was not even referred. Even when the measure that was challenged was with regard to an environmental measure, NAEC was not even referred. In fact, so much so the tribunal, Metal Clad Tribunal, issued a dicta by saying that, I mean, initially the Metal Clad Tribunal stated that the governor's order designating a certain area to be a natural area for the protection of rare indigenous cactus species was outside the scope of the tribunal. That is what it had initially decided because of the timeline procedural things. Even then it issued a dicta by saying that that also amounts to expropriation. The dicta, the tribunal reviewed a governor's order that was taken for the protection of rare indigenous species, cactus species, and stated that it amounted to expropriation. Even then, there was no reference to this environmental cooperation agreement. So, sometimes the tribunal does not even look at an international environmental agreement. So, what is the way out? So, only way is if those international environmental agreements are specifically stated to be applicable. We do have n number of treaties, n number of conventions, all of them talking about certain specific environmental issue, starting from climate change to biodiversity, preservation of biodiversity, when there are so many international environmental agreements which mostly operate in the sphere of soft law, and how can that be reconciled with an approach and within an investment regime that mostly operates on a hard law approach, right? So the investor protections take a hard law approach, whereas the environmental protection takes a soft law approach. Then how do we reconcile when the investment and the environmental concern intersect in an investment dispute? And if we look at whether any international environmental agreement was looked at or was pleaded before the arbitral tribunal, or the provisions was referred to, or was it considered by an arbitral tribunal, we can see that only 6 cases out of all the sample cases that we discussed in the 6th and 7th and 8th week of the course, only 6 cases have even a mention of an international environmental agreement. If you look at the following table, you will see what are those 6 cases and what are the international environmental agreements that these cases have looked at. This is very surprising given that all the cases that we discussed related to an environmental measure, and only 6 cases have even had a reference to the international environmental agreement. So that makes us wonder as to how can we ensure that arbitral tribunal looks at these environmental provisions, or the only option, the only way out for reconciling environmental concerns in investment regime is to include an environmental provision in the international investment agreement is something for us to wonder, think about and debate about and research about. So we need to clearly ask ourselves and try and figure out why aren't arbitral tribunals in investment arbitration trying to reconcile environmental interest in investment disputes, at least by taking a reference to international environmental agreements. So in the next video, maybe we can look at, we will discuss about certain decided cases where we will look at to what extent an international environmental agreement was applied in that case, or to what extent the arbitral tribunal ignored the application of international environmental agreement. So this is something we will discuss in detail in the next video. Thank you.